Tunashukuru Mungu kwa sababu ya siku ya leo. Ametupa tena nafasi ingine ili tukaweze kushiriki kwa neno la Mungu kwa siku ya leo. We thank God even for the facilities ambazo zitatusaidia katika kuhubiri neno la Mungu. So we thank God for everything. We want to welcome all of you visitors, the people who are fellowshipping with us for the first time, together with the YouTube listeners, those who are watching over the world, wherever you are, that person, especially at this particular time, that the Lord our God is together with us. We thank God for the whole week. God has been together with us. Last week we learned about having hope in God. And we said that if David was able to be a person after God's heart, then we have hope in God. Because just by the grace of God that we are able to receive the mercies, the blessings, and everything that the Lord has planned for us. Today, we are also going to learn about something which is exciting, something that we need to know. We want to learn about our God. We have been told about the three names of God. That is Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha, and El Shaddai. Let me tell you, when she was preparing her notes, she never consulted me. And when we compare the notes after I had finished my work, it's exactly what I'm going to talk about. Do we know our God? That is what we want to learn today. Do we know our God? If somebody asks you, do you know me? If a friend asks, do you know your mother? Or do you know your father? I think that question, once it is thrown to you, it will take your attention. Immediately, your attention is caught up in that statement. So this morning, we want to learn about our God. Do you know your God? Or do you know your Savior? That is the question that we want to tackle this morning. That is the question that we want to walk slowly by slowly for the next 45 to 50 minutes to be able to learn who this God is to us. So that at the end of it all, you are able to answer that question, whether you know God. Bwana asifiwe sana. But God cannot be known, just the way you cannot be known. My wife cannot be able to know everything about me. I may not be able to know everything about my wife. There are things I'm learning every day, even after 26 years of marriage. There are things I'm still discovering on my wife. And there are things also she's discovering about me. And God remains God. And we cannot know everything about God. What God has shown us is a small part about himself. The God of the Bible. So we want to learn the God of the Bible today. But there are so much things, there are so many things that we don't know about God. But what we know about God in the Bible is what we'll try to understand and to learn today. And for us to be able to learn who is God, or who is this God we are talking about, we'll walk with 4 characters in the Bible that will enable us to understand about our God. And these 4 people are Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These 4 gentlemen were among the Israelites who had been taken captive that time. So they were in a captivity land. They are people who are slaves. In other words, they are people who had been taken against their will to Babylon by King Nebuchadnezzar. So these people had been taken away from Judah, and they were taken to another country, and that country is Babylon. And we were told that once they reached there, the king was interested to have reliable people, people who can understand, people who can be able to learn the language immediately. You know, learning language and learning new things, it takes the grace of God. There are people, if they go to another country, they are able to learn their languages immediately. If you go to France, you're able to understand French very fast. But there are people who take ages. So the king wanted people who can understand easily, people who can be able to understand the literature. They're able to learn the language. They're able to learn the secrets of that area. So Nebuchadnezzar ordered the court officials, among the people that I've picked from Israel, from Judah, I want to choose the best out of the best. I want to have lawyers. I want to have advisors. The people who can think sharply. People can think very fast. When we have a problem, people who are able to bring solution. In other words, a king didn't want people who are danders. He didn't want people who takes time to understand issues of the court, issues of the country. Because there, that is where the decisions are made. When the head of state wants to make decisions, critical decisions, he has to have people who think very fast, who are able to understand the vision, who are able to understand the mission. So Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego qualified. I think they were asked some few questions and they answered well. So they were chosen. So when it came now for them to be trained, that is where now you separate the people who understand, the people who are able to know, the people who are able to make decisions, the people who are able to balance the vision, the mission, and all that. And we realize in Daniel chapter 1, verses 8, when they had been chosen, there is something that they did spectacular. Verses 8 of Daniel chapter 1, it says, "But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way." The king or the president or the leader of that country had specific food that were given to these people who are supposed to be critical thinkers. Maybe they were given fish, we don't know. Maybe it was a type of meat that was provided by the king. But Daniel he knew that this food could be mixed. This food could be unclean to his faith. So he made a decision. He resolved that for him and his friends needs to be excused from the food of their king. And this one teaches us something about Daniel and his friends. Not everything that you are given is good for you. Not every privilege that is given to you is okay. Either by friends, by government, or by whoever. So Daniel decided, from the word go, I don't want to eat the portion that have been given by the king. There was wine and there was food. If I can speak about wine, wine can make somebody start speaking loosely, carelessly, without thinking. And because Daniel wanted to be very careful about himself, about his faith, he decided to forego, because words are very important for any leader. A leader that you want to choose to be your advisor must be a leader who chooses his words. Just the way Samuel, in 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 19, Samuel was very careful about his words because he knew he was the servant of God. And for that reason, he never let any of his words go down on the ground. In other words, he did not utter any useless word. And maybe this could be the reason why Daniel said, if it comes to wine, I don't know, I don't want. Because once you get that wine, you may not be responsible for what you speak. You might give away secrets. You might speak and annoy an official. So Daniel said, excuse me. And then the person who was responsible was afraid, and he said, Daniel, you know, this food that we are giving is to make you look better, to think critically. It gives you focus in the work that was supposed to be assigned. And Daniel said, no problem. Give me vegetables and water for 10 days and check the results of my health. And for sure, after 10 days, Daniel was much better together with his friends. His skin was okay. His thinking capacity was okay. He was more focused. And life continued there in the kingdom of the Babylon. When we check verse 17, to these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. And Daniel could understand visions and dreams. I think that was an added advantage because of actually separating himself. But what I want us to learn about these 4 gentlemen is the belief they had in their God.